As we all know, unless you've been living under a rock for the last couple of days, Facebook on Monday shut down for a period of about 5 to 7 hours. Now, for us as a business, that was something that obviously had some significant drawbacks, considering Facebook is an important platform that we use. But I just think looking back over the course of how this story has progressed a little bit at a time, it's interesting to consider some oddities, I think, along the way. And also we can extrapolate some other points about Facebook's trajectory for the future that I want to pose a couple of questions to you on. But just to brief you, the audience, on just some of the stuff that's been going on. So essentially, on Sunday night, a whistleblower went on 60 Minutes. Her name is Frances Haugen. She used to work at Facebook as a civic integrity officer. They like their fancy titles over there in Silicon Valley. So essentially what she did partially was to work to moderate content that was on the platform. And more specifically, she worked in a capacity where she was dealing with the election that was happening, of course, in 2020. So she went on 60 Minutes, and I would just imagine Zuckerberg probably didn't appreciate all of the comments that she made. She was absolutely scathing in the criticism that she levied against Facebook. I think one of the things that I was the most interested in when I was kind of going over the clips and like looking at some of the things that she said was in regards to how they moderate content in developing countries. So of course, here in the United States, we all know about the canceling problem, the censorship issue, where especially those on the right side of the political spectrum are having their speech like squelched. But so much of that is happening in other countries, except in the developing countries, it happens less because they have fewer resources to mobilize in that effort.
Yeah.
So the whistleblower said that over 5,000 languages are spoken on planet Earth, like a massive number. She said Facebook has moderators working with about 50 of them.
Wow.
So there's a significant number of people that speak languages that are not either seen on Facebook or the content itself isn't kind of parceled through on Facebook either. So the consequences of that is when somebody says something crazy in one of these countries, especially something that's politically divisive, a lot of the time something very bad happens. So whereas in this country they're working to mitigate that, in other countries they're like, well, that's over there. It's not really our problem. Our shareholders aren't going to hear about this, so who cares, really?
Yeah.
So I think that was absolutely very punishing for Facebook to hear that. But the interesting thing is, within 24 hours of her going on there and making these comments that were very damaging to the company, this is when we see the blackout happen.
Yeah.
And that happened on about Monday. I have written down here at 11:45 Eastern Standard Time. And Facebook claimed that it was due to changes that they made in their underlying internet infrastructure that interrupted communications between their data centers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't that sound very straightforward and understandable to the American public?
Yeah.
So essentially, they said somebody pressed the wrong button, they turned the wrong thing off, everything got all screwed up. So they have not been very forthright at all as to what really happened. But everybody had their services interrupted that used the platform, whether it's in regards to Instagram, WhatsApp, Oculus, Facebook Messenger. So this was something that more or less everybody noticed and had a tremendous impact. I mean, Facebook lost $6 billion off their market cap in a period of less than 5 hours. So the amount of businesses and individuals that were affected by this is huge. So I think going forward, thinking about Facebook and just kind of the niche it has in society and the role it plays in human civilization, the first question I have for you two is, what do you think happened? Do you buy Facebook's excuse per se that, oh, we had some kind of technical difficulty, or do you think there's something more nefarious at play?
I personally don't buy their excuse at all. I think, one, I don't trust Facebook in any capacity, so I think that anything that they say I'm going to take with a little bit of a grain of salt, but particularly in the sense of, they're being hacked. I think that if they were hacked, nobody at Facebook is going to admit that it happened. And there were reports yesterday that just lead me to believe that it wasn't just some accident at Facebook. There was reports that at some points they couldn't get into the server room. They had to saw into the server room because they had, automated keys. It's all high tech at Facebook. I kind of sound like a grandpa saying that, but that's what happens when you don't use keys. You use everything's automated. Then all of a sudden, if it goes offline, you can't get in there anymore. So it seems like the issue is a lot more widespread than just some sort of like problem with their code or whatever they're claiming it is. And it seems like if it was that simple, that there wouldn't have been as many reports of widespread issues both at the company and just throughout Facebook as a website. It seems like it was a bigger issue than they want to let on.